I'm not yet sure how to live in a world without Kayla, but I do know that we're all living in a better world because of her.
The world wants to be more like Kayla. And if that is her legacy and the footprint that she leaves on the world, then that is a wonderful thing.
Relatives and friends of Kayla Mueller, the fourth American hostage killed by ISIS, in a rescue attempt. The president talked about that tonight. A rescue attempt had failed in the summer to get her before ISIS killed her. We just don't know how as of yet. Now, there's still reaction to this interview where the president talked about the attacks in Paris. Take a listen to today's exchanges.
It is entirely legitimate for the American people to be deeply concerned when you've got a bunch of violent, vicious zealots who behead people or randomly shoot a bunch of folks in a deli in Paris.
The adverb that the president chose was used to indicate that the individuals who were killed in that terrible, tragic incident were killed not because of who they were, but because of where they randomly happened to be.
They weren't killed because they were in a Jewish deli, though?
These individuals were not targeted by name. This is the point.
Not by name, but by religion, were they not?
There were people other than just Jews who were in that deli.
And it was the same answer at the State Department by Jen Psaki, the spokesperson there. A number of moments of Q&A with reporters about that. Late in the afternoon came these tweets. First by Josh Earnest. Our view has not changed. Terror attack at Paris kosher market was motivated by anti-Semitism. POTUS didn't intend to suggest otherwise. Jen Psaki State, we have always been clear that the attack on the kosher grocery store was an anti-Semitic attack that took the lives of innocent people. Okay, we're back with the panel. Let's bring them in. Syndicated columnist George Will, Kirsten Powers, USA Today columnist, and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. Let's start there. Charles, it was interesting back and forth today.
Look, if you're going to surrender, as the administration did on this idiocy at the end, it's irritating for you to say we've always been clear that we intended to say it was anti-Semitic. That's not been clear. They spent the whole day pretending it wasn't, which made them look silly. You hear Josh Earnest saying that because they weren't targeted as individuals, so it wasn't a hate crime, it wasn't a group crime. That makes the case that it was a hate crime. The idea was, for terrorism, for an anti-Semitic act, not that you have a grievance against the individual, but you want to attack Jews. Here's a man who called a TV station in the middle of the hostage incident and said he was out there to kill Jews. The President Hollande of France said it was an egregious anti-Semitic act. What does it take? And why did they spend a whole day with this ridiculous pretense that it wasn't? Because otherwise it would have meant admitting that the president is not infallible and that he left out an adjective, that he should have said kosher deli. That's all it took.
Kirsten, I mean, basically they were reacting to this Vox.com interview. The State Department had called it anti-Semitic right after it happened. The reason this is getting a lot of attention is because you had the former head of DIA say you have to know the enemy. Here's Senator Moran on the Senate floor just moments ago.
The Obama administration's now repeated comments that chalk this up to randomness, that's just amazing to me. It's dangerous for our government leaders to reach such a conclusion and for us to be operating as we make a determination how to proceed next in the war on terror. The denial of anti-minority or anti-Semitic motivations in this case gives me hesitation about whether the president understands the true nature of the threat.